We gotta get these doors shut.
Aaron screamed at me, indicating the glass entrance doors that were still gaping open a couple feet from when he'd pried them apart earlier. I ran to the one on the right and he ran to the left. We started to push on them, trying to slide them shut. Aaron's moved pretty easily, but mine seemed to be stuck on his tracks. I can't get it to move, I screamed at him, throwing a frantic look outside. The fast approaching horde of the living dead was closing in on the store, drawn by the bell ringing on the roof. The closest was no more than 10 yards away. I could already hear their repetitive, single-minded chanting.
Hate life, hate living, hate life, hate living.
Aaron had his door pushed in as far as it would go, but there was still about a 2-foot gap. He rushed over to my side and grabbed the edge of the jammed door.
Push! God damn it, put your fucking back into it!
He shouted at me, and together we began to shove on the door with our combined strength, straining with the wild desperation of cornered animals. It slid over a couple inches, then a couple more, then a whole foot, then it jammed again.
Fuck!
Aaron shouted, and began pounding on it in a frenzy. The mob of rotting corpses was only a few feet away. My nostrils were overwhelmed with the repulsive stench. With a final superhuman effort, Aaron shoved his entire body against the door. With a squeal, it started to slide shut, but then a corpse threw itself into the remaining 6-inch gap. It shrieked and reached for us with skeletal fingers, its loathsome shriveled face only a few inches from mine.
Life!
It screamed at us, trying to force itself inside the store. It was preventing the door from shutting the rest of the way.
Get back!
Aaron shouted at me, leveling his shotgun. I ducked back, then he fired point blank. The corpse's head exploded. Instantly, it dissolved into that foul black sludge. I quickly slit the door shut the rest of the way, and not a second later the horde was slamming against it from the other side. I hurriedly flipped the lock. Before I could even begin to relax, Aaron grabbed my shoulder. I turned to him.
There's a second entrance on the other end,
he shouted, pointing. We ran across the length of the store and arrived at the other entrance just as the horde was beginning to force the doors apart. Aaron hammered at their protruding fingers until they withdrew. Then he shoved the doors closed and turned the lock. We staggered back, trying to catch our breath, our hearts pounding. The corpses moaned and pounded on the glass. Can they smash through that? I panted at Aaron, pointing to the glass. Maybe, eventually, but it'll take them a while, he replied. Shatter-resistant safety glass. We're safe for now. He pumped his shotgun, ejecting the spent shell, and slung it over his shoulder. Let's get back to Dante and Jeff. We trudged back through the store. Dante was staring up at Jeff. He looked at us anxiously. What the fuck's going on? We got the door shut and locked, Aaron explained, but we can't get back out that way. There's hundreds of them out there. Fuck, Dante said. We looked up at Jeff, still suspended from the ceiling. He was groaning and appeared only semi-conscious. His leg, the only one caught in the wire, was bleeding badly and the skin of his ankle was discolored from the lack of circulation. We gotta get him down from there, Dante said urgently, and fast, or he's gonna bleed to death. A ladder. We need a ladder. And something to cut that wire, Aaron said. Let's see if we can find something in hardware, I said. Dante, Aaron, and I rushed to the hardware department. Aaron found a stepladder, which I helped him carry, and Dante grabbed some bolt cutters. We hurried back to Jeff. Aaron quickly set up the ladder next to where Jeff was hanging, and Dante handed him the bolt cutter. He climbed the ladder until he was parallel to Jeff. He looked down at me and Dante. Get ready to catch him when he drops, he told us, then raised the bolt cutters to the wire. 1, 2, 3! He snipped the wire and Jeff fell with a scream. Dante and I caught him in our arms and lowered him as gently as possible to the floor as Aaron descended the ladder. We knelt down to examine Jeff. He was unconscious. Shit, Dante said. Is he dead? Aaron checked his pulse. No, just passed out. Aaron carefully pulled the loop of wire encircling Jeff's ankle free and inspected his ankle. Christ, he said, appalled. It cut deep. I don't think it severed his artery, though. Hand me the flashlight, I said. I'll get some medical stuff from the pharmacy. Aaron gave it to me and I went and found a first aid kit. I brought it back and Aaron carefully wrapped the dressing around Jeff's ankle. He's gonna need stitches when we get back, he said. So now what? Dante asked Aaron. We gotta get the fuck out of here, but we can't go out front. Maybe we can sneak out back, I suggested. Yeah, that's what we'll do. What about him? Dante pointed to Jeff, who was slowly coming to. He opened his eyes and looked around, confused for a second, then he winced from the pain in his ankle. How you feeling, Jeff? Aaron asked him. Like shit. My ankle hurts like hell. You think you can walk on it? Dante asked. He shook his head instantly. No fucking way. It feels like it's broken. Aaron and Dante looked at each other, dismayed. We're gonna have to carry him, Dante said. We can't carry him all the way back to the police station. Maybe we can cart him back in something, or a wheelchair maybe. Shit, does Walmart even stock wheelchairs? What about a wheelbarrow? I asked. That's an idea, Aaron said. Let's go see if we can find one, I said. Aaron and I went to the gardening section. We found a decent-sized wheelbarrow and rolled it back to Jeff and Dante. Let's lift him up, Aaron said. Together, the three of us lifted Jeff off the floor. He grimaced in pain.
Be careful,
he yelled at us. We deposited him carefully inside the wheelbarrow. All right, Aaron said, looking at me and Dante. Let's grab as much of the stuff that we came here for as we can and meet back here as quickly as possible. And keep your eyes out for any more traps. We split up. I loaded my backpack with as many candles as I could, then went back to rendezvous with Aaron and Dante. Aaron had loaded his backpack and also put additional stuff in the wheelbarrow, packing it around Jeff. Here, Aaron said, taking a brand new flashlight out of his packaging, loading it with fresh batteries and handing it to me. Dante came running back with his own backpack. You find any kerosene? Aaron asked him. No, but I found some battery-powered lanterns and the camping stuff, he said. Good. All right, let's get the hell out of Dodge, he said, lifting up the wheelbarrow by its handles. We followed him as he wheeled Jeff to the back of the store, through a set of doors marked employees only. We hurried past an employee break room, a set of employee restrooms, a locker room, and entered the shipping and receiving area in the rear of the store. It was a long row of loading docks in the back wall, and a metal service door. Dante pushed the door open, and immediately a pair of rotted arms reached in and grabbed at him. He shouted and lunged back. A corpse charged through the door.
Hate life. Hate living. Hate life. Hate living.
Dante fired his shotgun, obliterating its head. It liquefied.
Look out!
Aaron shouted.
There's more!
I pulled my handgun, pushing the safety off like Aaron had showed me, aimed and fired. The gun jerked back in my hand. Another corpse was hit between the eyes. Dante and I fired our guns into the crowd of corpses in the doorway. Then he bolted forward, grabbing the door and yanking it shut. Instantly, more corpses began pounding on it from outside. Fuck! Dante said, rattled. He began to pace distractedly, repeating, fuck, 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 over and over again. They must be encircling the building, Aaron said grimly. There was a bleak look on his face that scared me. We're trapped in here. What the fuck are we going to do? I asked, looking to him, then to Dante. They just stared back at me with frightened eyes. Neither of them answered me. The dead things outside continued to pound on the service door and moan. Aaron ran his hands through his hair, rubbing his head, trying to think. He glanced out a small window high in the wall of the shipping and receiving area. The gray daylight had faded some since we had been here. We have to come up with something, and fast, he said. We're running out of daylight. How long do we have before it gets dark? I asked him. I'm guessing maybe a couple more hours, if that. Why not just hold up in here for a night and try to come up with a plan tomorrow? I asked. They can't get in here, and we've got plenty of candles and flashlights to keep safe from the shadow lurkers. Yeah, but Clark and Nadine back at the police station don't, Dante shot back. Their supplies won't hold out for the night. We got to get back to them before they run out, or else they're toast. He was right. I had completely forgotten about Clark and Nadine. Maybe we can distract them somehow, lure them away from the door, Jeff suggested. How? Aaron asked. One of us could sneak outside, draw them away, and the others could take off in the other direction. No, it's too risky. Besides, that won't do us any good if they're surrounding the building on all four sides. My eyes locked on something. Across the room, a metal ladder was bolted to the wall, leading to a trap door in the ceiling. Printed on the bottom of the trapdoor were the words, "Rooftop Access." "Hey," I said, "check this out." I pointed to the ladder. We gathered around it. "Let's go up and see what it looks like down below," Aaron said. He climbed the ladder and pushed the trapdoor up, climbing onto the roof. Me and Dante went up after him. Sure enough, in the center of the roof stood a huge, ancient-looking bronze bell in a wooden frame. A thin metal wire leading up through a hole in the roof was attached to the top of it, the same wire that had trapped Jeff's ankle. We stopped for a moment to consider the bell. "Pretty clever for them," Aaron commented. "They must be getting smarter." "How the fuck did they get it up here?" Dante asked. "Who the fuck knows?" Aaron said. "Maybe they hoisted it up with a pulley. Come on." We moved across the expansive rooftop to the front of the store and peered over the edge. "Oh fuck," Aaron groaned, horrified. Dante and I were speechless. Down below, hundreds upon hundreds of the residents of Deadland were massed in front of the store, covering a good chunk of the parking lot. They pounded and moaned at the entrance doors in a frenzy, and more could be seen in the distance, making their way here. "Christ, it looks like the whole fucking town's down there," Dante said. "There must be 1,000 of them," I observed. We walked along the perimeter of the building, down the side to the back. They were scattered pretty thin along the sides, and in the rear there were only about 50 of them, clustered around the service door. "What the fuck are we going to do?" I asked Aaron. "If we could clear them out somehow from around the door, we could cut out and slip away, then circle around to the front and take off back to the highway," he said. "If we shoot them, it'll just attract more from in front," I pointed out. "Yeah, besides, we don't have enough ammunition," Dante added hopelessly. "Shit, man, we're totally fucked. Game over." An idea hit me right then. "Wait, those cans of gasoline we brought along. What about them?" Dante asked. "We can make Molotov cocktails. Drop them down on them. It'll hold them back long enough for us to get away." Aaron snapped his fingers with excitement. "Now that's using your head." He glanced up at the darkening sky. "We have to hurry, though." We climbed down the ladder back into the store. Jeff, sitting in the wheelbarrow, looked at us anxiously. "What's going on?" "We got a plan to get out of here," Aaron told him. He looked to me and Dante. "Go get those gas cans and see if you can find some empty bottles or jars, and some hand towels." We nodded and ran back into the store. I raced to the front and grabbed the gas cans, which were still sitting where we had left them by the entrance we had come in through. As I turned to run back to the back of the store, I glanced at the entrance doors and felt my blood turn to ice water. The glass panes were still intact, but the metal frames of the doors themselves were beginning to buckle and bulge inward under the combined weight of the horde that was still throwing itself against them in a constant onslaught. They wouldn't hold much longer. "Oh shit," I muttered, then ran back through the store to the back.
"Dante,"
I yelled out.
"hurry up, man. They're starting to break down the doors. I'm coming,"
he called back. He came running down an aisle in my direction, holding a box of canning jars and some towels. We had just about reached the door marked employees only when there came the sounds of twisting, shrieking metal, followed by a crash from the front of the store. The moans of the walking corpses grew louder.
"Fuck, they're inside!"
Dante screamed. We pushed through the double doors and Dante turned and shut them, turning a deadbolt to secure them. We raced to the shipping and receiving area. Behind us, I heard the corpses begin to pound on the doors. "What the fuck was that sound?" Aaron asked as we reached him and Jeff. "They got into the store," I said. "Christ," he said. "Those doors ain't going to hold them out for long," Dante said. "We gotta hurry." We got to work, hastily filling the jars with gasoline. Aaron cut the towels into strips and used his pocket knife to punch a hole into each of the jar's lids. He forced the makeshift wicks into the holes. When he was finished, we had about a dozen Molotov cocktails. Aaron dumped the contents of his backpack out and replaced them with the cocktails. "Who's going to go up top and drop them?" Dante asked. The three of us exchanged looks. "Should we draw straws?" I asked. "There's no time. I'll do it," Aaron said. "Aaron," I started to protest. "No time to argue. Dante, you push Jeff. Kid, you cover them." He handed me a shotgun. "When you hear me give you the go-ahead, open that door and run like hell." He put on his backpack and went to the ladder that led to the rooftop. He gave me a reassuring smile. "Don't worry, I'll catch up." He ascended the ladder. We got into position by the service door, Dante picking up the handles of Jeff's wheelbarrow. We waited. A couple minutes later, I heard an explosion from outside. Shattering glass followed by the roar of fire. Then the sound of corpses shrieking in pain or horror. Then another explosion. Then another. After several more explosions, we faintly heard Aaron shouting at us from above.
Now!
Dante and I looked at each other, our faces tense with fear. Then Dante pushed open the door.